Alright, it's your boy No Tail Ninja back at it again with another video, and it seems like this is it. Like, this is finally the end of my hero, or at least of the war right now. And from what I've been seeing online, it's very divisive of an ending, and it's either people love it, think it's perfection, or people think that it was absolute waste of time and hate it. I lie kind of somewhere in the middle. I do think that the war was pretty good and like the art and everything was beautiful, but there are some story beats that I think didn't really hit as well as they should have, and I didn't like the over-encompassing focus on All for One. But I'll talk about that more in probably subsequent videos. But for today, we got a chapter to review. So before we get into it, you guys know the deal. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. And I'm kind of glad this is almost over because I've been focusing so heavily on getting these chapters out, and I have not had time to do much of any of the other videos that I was trying to work on. So now that that's over, this next couple weeks is going to be a chore trying to get this in Naruto or Boruto out. But once it's over, you know, I'll have some free time to make you guys some better quality content. But anyway, let's get into talking about today's chapter. So we open up the chapter following that massive hit that Deku landed on AFO at the end of last chapter. But in this moment, AFO seems to be noticing that there's something odd, that his super regeneration isn't working, which very convenient by the way. But he's thinking no, they had to have planned this, because individually each of these people aren't a threat, but them all together combined makes it very easy to dull his senses, masking Deku's presence, making him able to land this hit. And he realizes that back when Deku and Shigaraki were fighting, that when he was striking him, he wasn't just striking him in his body, but he was also striking him in his soul. And that's why his body is falling apart right now, as Deku remembers that One for All cannot be handed to a weak body, and that for the past 2 years he strengthened his body to be able to handle this power and crystallize this power of all 9 people. Which I think is still a little messed up because like Deku couldn't use 100% of his power going into this battle, and that is one of the like things that constantly infuriates me, that they just kind of skipped ahead with his powers. But again, another video. As AFO receives that strike from Deku, as he realizes that wait a minute, his body is crumbling apart, because naturally a power that level shouldn't be enough to knock him out, as it seems like now all the quirks and nasty amalgamations he's made across the battlefield are starting to disappear, as he's literally starting to crumble apart and fade away. But just as his body's about to crumble apart, he uses all his quirks to hold himself together, even to the shock of Deku. And he says, "Nothing has been finished yet. No one will take anything from me. Only my dreams will come true. No one, nothing will be inherited or passed down. There's only one Demon King." As he thinks that, oh yeah, there's a simple solution to this. All he needs to do is just pass his quirk onto someone else on the battlefield, and he'll be able to reincarnate himself again. As he gets ready to accept Deku's next attack so that he could transfer his body, as Deku launches up another big attack. But while this is happening, Kurogiri is acting a little odd, as Aizawa looks over to him and it looks as if he remembers the moments that he spent with Shigaraki, and he says, "I'm sorry," as he teleports right in front of Deku's attack to block it from hitting All for One, or Shigaraki technically. As President Mike, with tears in his eyes, "I knew it, no matter where, you always reach out to those in need," as Shirakumo pleads with All for One to just please give Shigaraki back. As Deku's hand is now stuck in this portal, Shirakumo still pleading, his friends are waiting. But little does he know, Bakugo comes out of nowhere, who is still grievously injured, and I think murders Shirakumo right here. I think he actually kills him. But President Mike pleads with him to please go to the hospital, as he says he came here using his explosions, which I don't know if that makes it better. And he says, "I only borrowed Todoroki's jump board, and watch out, or else I'll surpass you, Izuku," which at this point he basically has. As Izuku goes to launch that big attack or final attack on AFO, as he says, "I will never forgive you, AFO." And he says, "I don't think you're a monster beyond understanding," as AFO is trying to plead with him to stop it. He says, "You're not a demon king," as he's like, "Don't look at me. You're just a truly lonely man," as his hit finally connects and we are teleported to AFO's vestige world. As AFO is looking upon what seems to be the embers of Yuichi, as he says, "Midoriya left a little bit before transferring me. It seems he adjusted his power. The response from the embers woke me up. Very little of me remained. He really wants to complete One for All in the right way." As AFO is just super excited to see his brother, and he's like, "Whatever is fine. Anything really. Don't go. Show me your face." As Yuichi says, "That's impossible. I am disappearing." And AFO is like, "No, you're mine. Show yourself to me. Do it now." As Yuichi just looks upon his brother, well, as much as they could both look upon each other with being, you know, flame. He says, "Big brother, I wasn't able to guide you. This is why Midoriya-kun noticed. So now he's offering one final salvation." And I guess that kind of adds to what Midoriya was saying, that AFO is truly lonely and he truly wants to help everybody. So the best way he could help him was to reunite him with his brother. As AFO says, "What I've been telling everyone for several videos now, that I won't allow it. I love you. I truly love you. I am nothing without you," which shame to all the ones who told me that, nah, he just sees him as a toy or whatever. I see you. I'm right. Admit it. But Yuichi is just like, it's time for you to pay for using so many people for your own sake. And also, I'm not the only one, he woke up, as we see behind AFO all the previous vestiges getting ready to launch their big attack on him, as every single fist connected and completely obliterates AFO or what remained of him. As Shigaraki and Deku touch fists, and Shigaraki explains to him what happened after AFO took over. Because he says, after Master swallowed me,
Pause.
I thought I was done for. You made sure I wouldn't disappear, Grandma. It's kind of nice. I do wish we got to see that on screen, but you know, it is what it is. As Kurogiri fades away into nothing, and Shigaraki's like, I got my body back from my master, but I didn't manage to destroy anything, which, cap, he destroyed a lot actually. I'm just a crying brat, just like you said. I wasn't able to crush your hand. And Deku says, I fought because I couldn't forgive what you've done. I wanted to stop you because you wanted to be stopped. Your sadness wouldn't be passed on. And Shigaraki's just like, huh. He says, Izuku Midoriya, if Spinner's still alive, tell him this. Tomoe Shigaraki fought till the end to destroy. And Deku's like, and you did it, which I don't know if that's something you want to say. As in the real world, he fades away into nothing. As all for one, Shigaraki and all the pain he's brought upon this world is finally gone. As the conclusion to this long fated battle is finally over. And oh my gosh, that was pretty good in my opinion. Now, for a rating of this chapter alone, I want to give this like 8.5. It's actually pretty close to a 9 in my book, but there's so much that happened in the story that kind of prevents me from giving this like a perfect, because this is more or less how MHA was always fated to end. We knew it was going to have a happy ending. We knew Deku was eventually going to beat the bad guy, and we knew it was going to be a big emotional moment. But I can't forgive all the other stuff that's been like set up and not really paid off very well, and all the other things that have happened in the story that didn't really get a like good conclusion. And I'm probably going to save my like full review for a separate video, because there's a lot that you could touch on with this war arc. A lot they did really good and a lot they did really bad. And I don't know, I think if I was to sum up like everything that they didn't do correct, it just was pacing. Like there was a lot of things that could have been stretched out a lot longer, but it felt like Horikoshi was kind of rushing to the end, which I know he has a various amount of health problems, and I think that's perfectly fine, because a lot of mangas tend to have that issue with their mangakas, that towards the end they get really sick because they're working their asses off, and they can't really give you the ending they want because they can't do the setup and do everything. So I'm forgiving of that, but it's still like, I guess for the fans who wanted more, I can also understand where they're coming from. Because if there's anything that really infuriates me with war arcs and a lot of series is when no one on the good guy side dies or really suffers any major consequences. Because yeah, we've literally seen every single villain get killed and none of the heroes have died. So yeah, I could kind of get that. It feels a little like cheesy cookie cutter, but I don't know, it's just always how My Hero has felt to me, so I'm not really mad about that. But there's various other things, and there's a lot of other things that have upset me. Like various plot inconsistencies and various characters who we've gotten introduced to that got no real screen time just to show up at the end to be like, hey, they're here after all. So it's like, why did we spend so much time on so many characters for them to amount to nothing? Like, I don't think they needed like full arcs for themselves, but you know, maybe incorporate them more into final battles and things like that. We straight up didn't even see some of the students till like the very last 2 chapters. So yeah, it's a little underwhelming in that sense. But again, as for the ending, yeah, this is pretty much what I expected. Like, it was almost like exactly how I envisioned it to end, that they would fight in the Vestige world, that AFO would be defeated, that he would eventually admit his love for Shigaraki, or I'm not Shigaraki, but for Yuichi, and that Deku would probably end up being quirkless, which I don't really know if he's going to end up being quirkless. It looked like when Shigaraki touched his hand, he might have transferred One for All to him and All for One back to him. So maybe he's like potentially one of the strongest heroes in the world, but we'll have to see. And also, I don't know why we even had that whole thing with the American heroes coming back in, which is probably just going to be them showing up for the final chapter, which I think this might have at most 1 or 2 more chapters left. I think we're going to have 1 chapter kind of like coming to a conclusion with everything that happened in the war, and obviously the obligatory time skip chapter where we see the heroes possibly as adults. I don't really want this to be like a we follow Deku's son in the next one. I kind of think My Hero is fine just ending where it's at right now. And if they continue into the future, I would just like for them to go to various other countries and give them that good old liberation. But yeah, I'm gonna probably sit on this ending for a little bit before I give like any full comprehensive thoughts. It might get better in my opinion. It might get worse more I think about it, but we'll see. But I'm definitely looking forward to not having to do at least the My Hero chapter reviews every week, because though I really love this manga, like even if I'm being critical, I truly love this manga. It was kind of time consuming and I don't really have a lot of hours in a day, and I wanted to work on various other videos, but then a chapter would drop and I'm like, oh crap, now I gotta stop what I'm working on to put out another MHA review. But look forward to more theory stuff. I think I'm not gonna really cover any other mangas besides Boruto, obviously. And I'm probably going to touch on some more JJK videos because I've not shown it any love lately. And I think I'm just going to start reviewing the manga and talking about stuff in the manga and theories I have there. So look out for that. Also, definitely going to touch on Vigilantes because my friend read it and he told me various things that happened in it. And it seems like this actually better encompasses the theme of My Hero a lot better than My Hero did. So I'm going to do some maybe big chapter summaries or big arc summaries on that, and give my thoughts on Vigilantes as well. And definitely let me know your thoughts on the My Hero ending in the comments below, which I probably should have said earlier in the video, but if you made it this far, definitely let me know what you think. And that's all I have to say for now, guys. So stay safe, my ninjas, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.